All right, now mute your tabs. What you doing?
Sorry.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, good morning, Shane. We see you hanging out there,
Hi, Shane.
Shane.
Welcome to the Coffee Table Talks.
Yay!
Sorry,
Woohoo!
we had a lot of stuff. I'm so glad that we
Back.
I know that we
You'll
were able
never
to
escape us.
circle up and grab a cup, guys, because
Of tea.
Super. Hey, you can insert your personal choices after the cup. We're all about inclusivity and diversity here. It's fine.
Mhm.
Totally fine.
Tea.
That's fine, I guess. You could have put it in a cup, though, you heathen. Jeez Louise. Joining us today is our special guest, Felim, and we'll get to Felim in just a second. I want to introduce my crazy cohorts that are always super appreciated. I just love that you guys just show up. Okay, just showing up. That's what matters the most to me in my life. Shane outed you right there. Look at that. Leave it. Look, Shane, for everybody else, it's Levy. Okay, we're doing Levy.
I messaged him at LinkedIn. That's what it was.
Oh, okay, got you.
You outed me now. Yet again, Rachel.
Man, I'm just accidentally just do things. Anybody else ever have a problem? I'm just not graceful at all about anything. Anyhow, with me, as always, Will McCullen with PIMA Community College out of Tucson, Arizona. He is the program manager for the IT Center for Excellence. They have a Discord channel. Go connect with Will. He will point you in the direction so that you can go and make friends with all of the amazing students that participate in the partnership with Arizona Cyber Warfare Range. It's cool. It's cool stuff. Go figure it out. Okay, it's cool. If you guys haven't been noticing, Levy is coming to hang out more regularly and will be a permanent fixture here on the table.
You're stuck with me now.
We are. I love it. Levy is an avid volunteer and supporter of the Innocent Lives Foundation, as well as a dark web, dark net aficionado, expert in all the things. If anything is creepy and lurking on the dark web, it's probably Levy.
There's an actual meme from Trace Labs, because I did a class, and it's coming back eventually for those who are inevitably going to ask.
And our new face this morning, for those who have not met Felim McMahon. Hi, Felim. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I first met Felim more over a year ago now, 2 years. I don't know. COVID was a thing. It's made my timetable. It's been so strange. Working with the great folks over at UNICEF for over 25 years. Freaking fantastic. That's amazing. Why did we lose? Okay, that's okay. We're just
as I mentioned earlier, I live in a snow globe. Who knows what's going to happen? The ice is attacking.
True facts. It happens. So Felim, thank you for coming and hanging out for a little while. So how are you, man? Didn't you relocate recently?
I didn't. So I do have news. I'm no longer with UNICEF as of this week. So it's former application security manager at UNICEF. So I actually start a new exciting thing in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be more than happy to update everybody on LinkedIn and you guys as soon as I'm settled in. But thank you very much for having me, Rachel, Will, and Levy. I really appreciate it.
Always.
Awesome chatting with you guys. And good morning, good evening, good day to everybody online and everybody participating. Hopefully we have a fun, interesting show today for you guys.
All right. It's always just
it'll be one of those at the very least.
Okay.
One of those.
Give it a shot, right? Yeah.
Definitely one of those. Just some basic housekeeping here. You are very capable and free to chat and it will appear in this side scrolling bar that's over there past, yeah, that way. There we go. Thank you. It will appear there if you are chatting from Twitch, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Otherwise, we love you. We're sorry we missed your question. But as we go through this discussion, what makes these chats so fun is that you participate. It's a participatory thing. Okay, we love you. It's great. So, not relocating. I was gonna come visit you. I was gonna pitch a tent in your front yard.
I know. Yeah.
Oh,
so
that part. But I'm looking forward to hearing about the updates. If you guys want to also connect with Felim, we have a LinkedIn thing, and it's down here. You can also just click the hyperlink on his speaker profile that's in the LinkedIn event. That's also an easy way to do things, or just type in his name, Felim McMahon.
I accept connections from pretty much everybody, even vendors. Even vendors, really.
Yeah, they're not all bad.
Not all bad. Just please don't pitch me on the first one. I mean,
yeah,
at least say hi.
Exactly. That's like it's like a first date, right? Like
yeah. Come on, there is some
somebody,
etiquette,
right?
What
you
is
don't
it,
just
the Manhattan Rules or something like that?
You don't walk up to somebody and just full on, start kissing their face. You say hi first, you weirdo.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get with it. Very cool. So 25 years, man.
And it kind of flew by in an instant. It was what was it, on Monday I actually had to go in and hand in my pass and my equipment and stuff like that. So it was a little bit sentimental, but 25 years, pretty crazy.
That's amazing.
Especially when it's with the nonprofit, right? Because that becomes more of a family than anything else, right?
Yeah. And some of the projects we worked on were just like really amazing. I mean, I can touch on some of that as well as we go through the discussion. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I started off in UNICEF as a consultant. It was originally a 3-month contract. So to go from 3 months to like 20 something years is pretty nuts. And but what's great about it is it was always progressing. I mean, I done a couple of years as a consultant, then I did 3-4 years as a quality assurance analyst, then I became a QA manager, and then I got into project portfolio management, and then my kind of last phase was all around information security. And that's what's great about a nonprofit. You end up wearing many hats. I mean, I was still actually doing a little bit of QA stuff while I was doing the security stuff, and still advising people on project portfolio stuff. And so it was, no 2 days were the same. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
And coming from a community college, right? Would you recommend that that's a great place to start a career and get going because of that ability to branch out, that ability to jump into different things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only thing, it does take a little bit of time. You have to be kind of patient and persistent in applying for stuff. All the different agencies do, internships and things like that. And I believe a lot of them are now actually paid internships. It just takes a little bit, because they're such big organizations in some cases, and some, a little bit of bureaucracy. So it does take a little bit of effort to, we'll say, navigate some of that stuff. But yeah, it can be really, really interesting. It can be a great way to kind of, get exposed to all different types of, projects, technologies. And there's the whole international aspect of it too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, UNICEF is pretty much in 190 locations globally. So, and it runs the gamut, it runs the gamut from like island tropical places to, pretty crazy stuff like, war-torn areas, emergency places, the disaster relief efforts. It's everything. Yeah. And, that's the amazing thing. I mean, for us, you kind of behind the scenes, if you will, supporting all of these great initiatives. But it's nice to, that you know that you kind of played a small part in some of the successes. Yeah. So yeah, definitely a wonderful journey, I have to say. Pretty awesome. Yeah.
So what was one of your biggest challenges?
The biggest challenge, and I think this kind of is a similar thing for a lot of nonprofits, is you're tasked with doing a lot of things, but you may not have sufficient resources. So you kind of have to be creative. Like in my last role, I was kind of upskilling some like help desk people to do security reviews and kind of coordinate results and work with project managers and business relationship managers to kind of help share the burden and the workload. So you kind of sometimes flying by the seat of your pants a little bit to kind of make things work. And that's the other thing, because it's so global. It's not always a 9-to-5 job. I mean, there was times on weekends I'd have to push through reports or results of assessments, because you want to make sure these country offices kind of, come Sunday, Monday, that they're ready to run with this stuff. And for a lot of them, working with like security teams, their first time, and, a lot of people are very nervous, and, you want to try and, give them a little level of comfort and kind of help kind of push things along a little bit quicker. So yeah, just being very creative in how you do things, knowing that sometimes it's not going to be just a straightforward schedule. But again, there's it's like a roller coaster. Sometimes it's very, very busy, and sometimes it's quiet, and the organization respects that, and you have flexible schedules too. So it's a win-win all around. Yeah, but definitely has its interesting moments, if you will.
So speaking of upskilling others, how did you get your start? Right, because 25 years ago the landscape was a lot different. So did you start off in some section of IT with UNICEF, or was there something even as a precursor to joining the family at UNICEF?
Yeah, so actually that's a very good question.
Thanks.
I started off when I came here first. I started off in construction, actually, because I was just trying to figure out everything, and then I seen an advertisement. This is going way back. New York Times, for this software company out in New Jersey, and I was living in New York at the time, and I didn't even know the the geography or anything. I was like, okay, I think it's close. So
Honestly,
let's see, right? So I applied, and it was just this position over the George Washington Bridge. If anybody knows, it's not that far. So
no, never take the George Washington.
Yeah. So in the mornings, I got the job, and it was kind of like entry level. I guess the fact that I had done one of my papers or thesis on kind of like computer support systems and things like that, they said, okay, maybe this guy is some potential. You never know. We'll give him a shot. But I mean, the money wasn't great. I mean, it was like, okay, I want to get in, so I have to. You got to sometimes lowball and just get your foot in the door. And I was young and single. What did I care? I just said, okay, let's just do it. If I have to keep sleeping on a friend's couch or whatever, it's okay. Let's just get it going. But I don't know if you know, like the New York subway. So at the time I lived in the Bronx. So I ended up having to take the D train down, and then an A train back up, and then a bus across the bridge.
Yeah.
So this was my trip every morning. But it was okay. I could sleep for a little while on the bus, and yeah. Done that for what was about 2 years, and then seen another job. I think it was again New York Times, because that was the top place at the time. There was no LinkedIn or whatever, and it was a consultant position in UNICEF at the time. And I guess the rest is history, if you will. That was around like the whole Y2K, so things were pretty good actually. They were hiring like crazy. I think I had like 3 or 4 different offers on the table at the time. I mean, and it was all around the same type of stuff, manual testing, do you know a little bit of this, a little bit of that? And it's like, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. Yeah.
Patrick's quote in or comment, help desk, he has a pulse. We can.
I like
love
that.
that one.
Yeah, it was basically something like that. It was like, okay, we see some gems of insights here in the paper he wrote. Yeah, let's give him a shot. Yeah, and then in UNICEF, you see, that's the thing. And again, I'm sure Will can attest to this. In nonprofits, you're given an official job description, right? So at one point, I think I was QA analyst or something. But over time, because it is constraints on resources and funding and stuff like that, people will just say to you, "Listen, we're kind of stuck. Can you help us with this? We need someone to kind of assist the project manager." So I started dabbling in that, and then I studied and I got my PMP, and then it's like, oh wow, so this guy, maybe he knows something about this. And then they offer you other stuff and they say, can you manage this project? So, on the side, I'm running a bunch of different projects for people, and I'm still managing the QA team, and then I'm doing the hiring and the recruiting and writing up the job descriptions and the terms of reference and negotiating with vendors. And, as I guess as you volunteer for more stuff, you just keep getting more stuff.
Yeah, weird how that works, right?
But it's I guess it comes down to attitude. If you're willing to learn, I mean, the world is your oyster, right? I mean, you can just basically do anything right now. It's just amazing. And I kind of digress a little bit when I say this, but back then learning was not like it is now. I mean, now you have so many free resources. I mean, that's one of the amazing things I've noticed about LinkedIn. And I kind of like to learn all the time now, but I mean, you got like TCM Security, like Heath Adams. I mean, he's putting out some huge, brilliant content. You got individuals posting stuff on like, oh, you want to learn how to do the OSAP test? I got a PDF on that. You want to try and do this? Oh, we got stuff on that. Josh Mason, I mean, that guy's pumping out stuff, him and Neil Bridges. There's so much stuff right now. But, back then it was, okay, buy a book or go to the library or ask someone for advice or something. But now it's just amazing. You can just get so much. It's everything is kind of at your fingertips.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of that, I have a friend that's kind of unofficially but officially mentoring someone else, and they get so frustrated. They'll come to me and they'll say, I'm just so frustrated because it's like they just want me to do it for them. And I'm like, I get that. I hear that frustration. And I think that's what so many folks that want to try and help upskill others or mentor them or anything else, they get frustrated because they feel like if you want them to invest in you, you need to invest in you. So
absolutely.
Finding resources like what Felim just mentioned is an excellent place to start. And then whenever you go and approach those folks that you want to start some sort of like a mentoring style relationship with, put in there, these are the things that I have found on my own so far. Can you make any recommendations? Is there something better you like? If you're researching a certain topic or trying to come up with a solution to an issue, in your current role, even, put the things that you've done so far so that they know that, right? Like my daughter, she's 5. Okay. And she's a diva. She's a diva. And she's like, I'm not gonna clean my room, basically. And I'm like, Mary Ellen, you need to clean your room, right? Like, it's important that you get this done and like organize your things so that your stuff doesn't break and get all cruddy and nasty and you know where things are whenever you go to look for them. Yeah. And she's like, it's so much, I can't do it. Right? And I'm like, well, and I have to bargain with her all the time. I'm like, I need you to show me that you're putting effort in before I'm gonna come help you, or else I'm not helping you, I'm doing it for you. Yeah. Right? There's a difference. And it's the same thing with like,
100%.
Building that mentor relationship is you gotta empathize with your mentor, with your mentor too, right? They're gonna empathize with you, but you have to try and find some things. And then I think that's what happens whenever people are like, oh, well, how rude were they? They were like, do you know how to Google stuff? Or like, let me Google that for you. Right.
Yeah. But I mean, I was just about to bring that up, Rachel. I mean, back when I was kind of mentoring some of these guys, Google wasn't as prevalent as it is now. I mean, now, I hear a lot of great folks in our industry saying that, like, don't take this as any of us being rude, but have you tried Googling? And it's the truth. Sometimes I'm on webinars or podcasts, and I'll make little notes, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should Google that later, because there's always something new to learn, and it's just all about the right attitude. I mean, if you're willing to just roll up your sleeves a little bit and do some of the work, you'll do really well. I mean,
I've got to jump in on that one. I can't sit still. That's the beauty of, that is the crux of what we've been working on here in our hands-on data center, right? Because we have that opportunity where, especially like in my capstone classes, where they come up and they say, okay, this is a data center, so we need a Red Hat satellite server going. Here you go. I've never done that before. Got it. Understand. Here you go.
Right.
And
maybe a YouTube video on it.
That's real IT, right? Is not just digesting knowledge and spitting it back out, but figuring it out, right?
Absolutely. It's critical. I mean, I'm gonna say something now, and hopefully it doesn't open up a can of worms, but it's like, and I know people have very strong feelings on this before I even say it, but the whole certification process and all of that. Well, I just will kind of preface. I'll just preface that by saying I do like certain certifications, but to your point, Will, you can't just learn something. You have to understand it. You have to, if you're just kind of learning it off by heart or by rote, as they say, like 1 and 1 is 2, you're not learning anything, and it's just, you're not doing yourself any justice. So, yeah. I mean, that's what's great.
That's another thing. Sorry, it's covering Will a little bit, but Britton, thank you for this comment. Okay, because this is the other side of it too. Is that's why I think the mentees or the folks looking for help are always like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, is because it is so overwhelming, right? It is. There is so much information, and then you get veteran folks like Felim and Will and even Levy and a lot of like, I don't feel like I'm a veteran at all in anything. Okay, I'm still like bumping around.
I wasn't even like in existence when our friend here started his career.
That's fair. So, but see, they knocked around with exactly to Felim's point, right? They just had to figure it out, right? If you go back to the whole thing that inspired us to begin the coffee table talks, I was talking with Rich Owen, and he was like, so in Vietnam, and I was like, that was a thing, like what? How did you figure your life out whenever there was none of that, right? Because the only resource the first resource I start with is finding and doing research and a Google search. But I'm transitioning back into IT after 20 years not in it, so it's actually hard to focus and find a path for me. I think that's the other problem with people coming into the industry is they're like, I want to work in cybersecurity, and the people in cybersecurity are like, cool. So that's like saying you're going to go work in the medical field, right? Yeah. There's a difference between an EMT and like a neurosurgeon. No. But they both work in the medical field, right? There's a big difference.
Well, on top of that, there's two things. One, I love when people are like, just Google it, because most people don't know how to Google things. People will be like, hello, Google, I want ice cream today. Where can I get ice cream? And they're not Googling properly. People don't know how to use Google Dorks. They don't know how to like really utilize Google well. So it's a really valid question, because you can Google, for example, threat intelligence, and you're going to find almost nothing of value other than 1,000 different definitions. So you're re-entering a field. Maybe you're interested in threat intel, and you can do nothing with it because you can find no resources on it. Or they're behind a $6,000 paywall at SANS, right? So it's not like one extreme or the other. They're locked real tight together of there's so many things out there, and also I can access none of them.
It is. It is locked in between. So you have to. So I never, ever, if I'm trying to learn something new about a piece of the industry or something that one of my colleagues has mentioned, right? Like to Felim earlier, sometimes I'm Googling stuff. I'm writing that down going, oh, I got to Google that later. We all are still doing that. Sometimes whenever like that helps a lot. Give me an idea of the direction of how I should search something is the way that somebody mentions it in a conversation. I am
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a conversational learner. It helps. That's why we do this. But if I'm researching something on my own, and it wasn't something that came out of a conversation, maybe it was in an article or something, or a news clip or anything like that I read, and I'm like, I wonder what that does. I rarely search it correctly the first time. To Levy's point, like if I went in and searched threat intel, you're right, you're going to get a bunch of definitions, but you have to be able to discern what's important about those definitions to understand. That's a critical thinking piece, right? And being able to build context, right? The read between the lines thing. Absolutely. And that's a talent.
You bring up a really excellent point there, right? Because I've been around a while. Yeah, Felim, I'm right there with you because
at least there's a couple of us, right?
Well, when I learned Linux, right, that was 2 months before Y2K. I had just gotten into a new job, and my predecessor had done nothing, and we had an old DEC Alpha OSF1 box, and it was like, oh, you need to replace everything. And I'm like, oh God, it was the longest couple of months in my life, but it had focus, like you were saying, Rachel. And Felim, you're right. All you could do is go down and get a book, right? Because there wasn't any real resource anywhere, and it made it really, really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the education sphere, we talk about this being the age of whelm, right? Like you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And there are so many avenues to go, and people have been rewired differently because their focus is constantly changing, either between the music they're listening to or whatever. That solid intent and that solid focus is a skill now that needs to be learned and is hard.
100%. It's I think it was Britton Bundy. And to Rachel's point, every time I go on LinkedIn, I learn something new and I take notes. I must have hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes, possible certifications, book recommendations, new websites to check out, new terms that are quite new or new to me. But back to Rachel's point, like the field of cybersecurity, it's massive. I don't even know all of it that's floating around. It's huge. I've seen some really good graphics on it, and it's just massive. It's massive. I guess, maybe it depends on what you're interested in. Some people are really into kind of digging through things, and they might like digital forensics, or, I know the hot one is pen testing or ethical hacking, but not everybody can do that. So it's like then the kind of forgotten stepchild, if you will, is GRC, audit and compliance, and that one is a huge one too. There's a lot of good stuff in that, and it's there's no right way to get into it either. You can just land in it someday, or you can start it on the help desk. I don't know if participants in the audience know a guy called Kevin Apollino. His stuff is amazing. He's like a help desk guru, and all of it's for free. He's helped, I think, last year, like hundreds of people get entry-level help desk jobs. Some of his stuff is just brilliant. So
that's awesome. That's very cool. You're gonna have to share the link with us, and then we'll have to add it to like one of the places. John Davis mentions ISACA as well as a great resource for some things too. We both actually serve on our local board here, and just having access to some of the resources is quite amazing. It's helpful. It's also another place where, if you want to network with more of the community and get to know more of the auditing type side of it, like it's not just auditing focused, but I like having those friends to like text whenever I'm like, help me understand that I'm not screwing this up. Just help me, right? But you have to, be pointed about the questions that you're asking and stuff like that. Anywho, I'm sorry.
Learn how to Google. Learn how to Google.
Well, Britton Bundy in there brings up a great point. It's brutal, the amount of information.
Oh yeah.
And the kind of advice that I give a lot of the students is start on something. If you're trying to learn, pick something and start delving into it, because that process of delving into it helps you to focus and define down some of that information.
A great example of that.
But then you've got a great point there, folks, that cybersecurity, right? It's like physics, right? Physics has math, physics has chemistry, physics has, it's the overall how things work. Cybersecurity has Linux, has Windows, has programming, has networking.
Will, can we talk about physics though? I love physics. That was my backup. I was going to be an astrophysicist. Anyway.
That's your backup?
That is you every time I say it. Yes.
That's the backup?
Yes.
I'm so not worthy. All right.
But wait, I had an example. He said physics, and I was like, wait, physics.
My backup was the unemployment line. Okay.
So listen, I originally was going to do forensic pathology, which is just like cutting open dead people to see how they died. And then if that didn't work out, I was going to do astrophysics, and then somehow I ended up here. So
you're just a brilliant light in my life. Do you know that? You just are.
Anyway, so I had an example. I had an example of this that's really pertinent. Please ignore my zoo of animals. I am working. It's kind of like a joke project. I'm making a little chat bot, and I was trying to figure out how to make something work in Google Colabs, for people who don't know what that is. Which I have too many pets in this room right now, which is a fantastic tool. And anybody who is going to take any of my courses where I teach Python and or machine learning will learn about it. And anyway, it doesn't automatically pull in any audio. So you can't talk to a chatbot in it. So I was trying to figure out how to do this. And so I had to go down the rabbit holes, and I found all these different ways until I finally found a way that I could consolidate everything. And I'm not even going to use that feature anymore, but now I have all the notes in the background on it that I can use later for a future project. And I think really all of it should be project-based. Everything is project-based to me. When I first learned how to program, everything I did was project-based. Because that's where your passion is. You found this project, and that will help you focus going forward.
So then, Levy, what you're saying is that picking up that discipline of understanding to make things into projects and carry projects. Or define
This has been my house for the past week because the kittens now can jump too high to be contained.
I'm like, it sounds to me like somebody's got the zoomies. That's what that sounds like.
No, there's two kittens in my house is what this is. So what were you saying, Will?
Is that how because you're covering so many things. Is that how you maintain your focus?
Yeah. So when I first kind of switched back into focused on like cyber stuff, and I got into like programming and all that, because I got here from a very weird path. The way I did it, don't laugh at me, Shane. The way I did it was I got into this. I thought it was really cool. I'm very logic-based. The programming was fun, but I was like, I don't understand all these nuances. And I came up with a crazy project idea that had nothing to do with the class. And I taught myself at a far faster rate than we were going in the class. But it was because I was so focused, because I was so passionate about this one thing. And for me, if I get bored, I'll just drop the world. I couldn't care less about anything. I'll get nothing done ever. So I tend to have multiple projects going on at a time.
No.
But that's how I focus everything down, which is why I'm always telling people, like, find what it is about this you want to do. So like even in my classes, I'm like, all right, so now you know how to say hello world. What do you want to make using this one line of dialogue you understand in this language. Because if you want to make a chatbot, you're going in a different direction than somebody who wants to make a program that's teaching you how to balance your finances. Both of them are super valid. Eventually, you could have both sets of skills, but for you to really ingrain yourself in learning something, it's finding that passion spot and just exploiting it.
Love that.
And then from there, you expand, and you're like, okay, now I know all these other things. That's fine. So that's always my 2 cents.
Awesome.
I'm so embarrassed. I was about to type it out in the chat, but I'm just going to say it. I'm so embarrassed. You mentioned Kevin, and like.
Oh, I sent his name to you in private chat there. Kevin.
Yeah, and said his last name. And I was like, who is this person? I'm in the Discord.
I'm sure you are. I mean, he's huge. He's huge. He just announced, I think, this morning that he got a new job. So
we've already chatted casually back and forth on different.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's because you know what my problem is. Unless there's reasons why I need to know your last name.
The API connection went down.
I was like, it's just Kevin. It's Kevin. It's just Kevin.
That's Kevin. Kev Tech, I think it is his what he uses. Yeah.
Yes. Kev Tech. Oh, I put the YouTube link to his channel in the thing, and then awesome. I was like, I know Kevin. This is fun. Oh, and then Felim, thank you, JJ Davey. He's so fun. Josh Mason. Okay, I'm going to put all the things. I'm doing all the things. You guys continue.
So I mean, just some of those guys like JJ Davey is just, he runs a whole kind of mentor thing. But to your point, Rachel, he
actually left.
You got this. You don't need me. Keep going. I'm gonna find linky things and make a list.
Okay.
A voice.
There's a voice from the ether.
So, no, but JJ has kind of mentioned on LinkedIn, you know, where he went to the trouble of, you know, setting up a whole bunch of phone calls and interviews with mentees, and then out of the blue, some of these guys just ghosted them, and I'm like, oh man, come on. He's like working his butt off to try and help people, and so it's all about attitude. But he's a really, really good guy. I mean, a wealth of information, just for folks listening in. And then Josh Mason as well. He's really good. He kind of heads up the INE stuff, and they got a whole bunch of great training labs, training programs, and all that stuff. And I believe there's a bunch of stuff that's free as well, available there for free. Yeah.
So, Felim, how do you maintain your focus with
I don't.
I feel it.
No, I mean, I can only do so much. We'll say LinkedIn and stuff like that every day, because I have a bunch of kids here, so they're not going to let me hang around on the computer and stuff all the time.
My furry children are an S.
You know what I mean. I mean, I tried to lock in, but Levy says it's not easy. I mean, I try to. If I've got some upcoming, projects or work, and I want to kind of polish that a little bit, maybe just, brush up on some stuff. I try to focus on those areas for like a couple of weeks or whatever. But I mean, information overload, it's definitely, and especially, some people mightn't realize it, but LinkedIn can be, it can be socially addictive too. I mean, I like to go on for, the great blogs and content and stuff like that people put out there. And I really get a kick out of congratulating people too. If somebody gets a new job, sometimes I don't even know them, but I'm like, congratulations. Because, it was a lot of work for whoever it was to get that done. And it's like, why not give them a little shout out? I think people like that. So, yeah. But it's easy to get carried away on LinkedIn for sure.
Oh, definitely. I think one of the biggest helps has been like Chris Roberts. The poor man. He's got so many followers, right?
It's nuts. It's nuts.
But talking to him, he's like, nope, there's a very specific block of hours that's when I do LinkedIn. And other than that, you're not going to see me.
I'm only on LinkedIn for this.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I mean, you have to be disciplined. I mean, I don't do Facebook anymore. Like I just got rid of it. It's just, it just saps your time and your energy.
Other than for investigations.
Ah, okay. OSINT, right? You're a little bit of Al on the side.
Among other things.
Thank you, APIs, right?
If I'm doing like the infiltration investigations, then I have to actually interact with people, which is lame. But whatever.
Yeah, that would make a great T-shirt, Levy. Facebook, only through APIs.
The Meta API. They're losing people. Yes. They're losing their minds. Right? Yeah, they're losing people. They went down. Their stock plummeted the other day.
Wow.
It's funny. But they lost like 1 million people, which is like nothing for their actual stats, but it's the first time they've really lost people.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
very crazy.
You got to juggle it all.
So, Felim, what is on the horizon? What's happening next? Okay, so you can't mention the other thing yet.
I can't mention it too much, no, but it's something pretty cool and exciting. Yeah, it's a slight step up from application security management. Yeah, but I'm gonna take everything I've kind of learned up to now, and I'm gonna probably need all of it because, as Levy mentioned, everything like this is a project. So my experience with projects and portfolios and stuff like that, I'm definitely going to need to do that because, it's going to be a lot of stuff.
But is it going to be fun?
Yeah, I'm going to approach it like that anyway. Yes, for sure.
Has to be. I'm telling you.
I'm going to be smiling all the time. I could be crying on the inside. I don't know.
I feel that. Listen, this is important. The reason I always tell people you have to have projects because they're passion projects is because eventually you have to actually work a real job, and you might not enjoy it every day. But if you started with a passion project to get all those skills, then it's a lot easier to just do all the other stuff while holding that passion.
Yeah. Well, that's like I always tell people, one of the big steps to, I don't know, getting that next role or upskilling or learning more or being made aware of more things that maybe, you don't know what you don't know kind of thing is networking. It always comes down to networking. And I don't mean the hardware. Okay. You networking nerd. I mean,
both. It's both.
I mean, the making friends, right?
You need networking to network. So yes.
You do. And there's so many folks that don't understand how easy it is, but they also don't know how to utilize a tool like this event right here, right? This happens pretty much every week, unless the sky has fallen on Rachel. Sorry. But
she forgets to pass it to me or Will.
I do. But it pretty much happens every week. Some things that maybe you haven't considered is look at all of these slightly extroverted, at least in a virtual setting, people that are commenting in the scrolling chat. Like look at them all. These people like to be chatty. Okay. So
it's good. It's good to see. Yeah, it's awesome.
You go and you check out their profiles because most of them have them set up, accurately enough that you understand what their skill set is and what they're interested in. Yeah, and then you look through the posts they share, the posts that they, make for themselves, and you utilize the same platform you found them on to chat with them.
Yeah.
That would so not work for anybody who sees me chatting because I post nothing on LinkedIn ever.
I know you don't, but and then
please talk to me too, Bert. Yeah.
But always keep in mind, right? And that was something that whenever I first started kind of figuring out, how I could make friends in the community and learn from others and stuff like that, I realized very quickly, not everybody lives on one platform. Hence why this thing streams to 5 different ones. There's different people like to or feel comfortable utilizing different platforms, right? So don't bank all in one, but spread yourself out a little bit, and you're going to get different perspectives and styles and all kinds of stuff. Absolutely. If you have a very short attention span, I recommend Twitter. Be careful though. Your feelings can get easily hurt. Same with Reddit. All right.
I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight
Reddit
people
is
on
a
either
place-
of those. Let's go.
From my personal experience, maybe it's different for others, and maybe I'm not following the right Redditors, but that's a place where hopes and dreams go to die. But you can learn stuff. Okay, so
it doesn't have to be your hopes and dreams. It can be someone else's.
It is. It usually is somebody else's. They like to hide.
Don't go on a dark net if you don't want your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
I want to push against what you just said now.
Go for it.
Discourse.
Go for it. Be my devil's advocate.
Discourse.
I love it.
I was just having this conversation earlier today in like the past week, is that a lot of this stuff is not inherent for people, even extroverts. They're learned skills. Thinking on your feet, having a conversation you're not prepared for, especially with an audience, or even interacting in a chat. It's a learned skill, and it's something that takes time for you to be ready for and interested in, especially because you're going to run into somebody like Rachel who's going to throw you under the bus saying, hey, see all these people who made comments? Go message them now. So now you've opened yourself up to a slew of messages, and you're already getting 1,000 from vendors anyway.
I got a slew already myself. Yeah.
Right? So you're going to end up in those situations, and it's something that you learn how to deal with and manage and navigate over time. Like, I have no problem coming out here with my silly hats and making a fool of myself, because I could not care less. But I know a lot of people who are like, how do you do the thing? Why do you do the thing? And it's not like I've done this forever. It's just this trait I have learned over time for events like this to get people engaged. And it gets more reactions. Like Shane laughing at me. Rude. And clowns, to John Davis's point. That is also very true. And although they're creepy serial killers in 2016 when they showed up in woods, actual clowns are very well trained in this stuff. And they actually have a lot of training and stuff that correlates to social engineering. All of this stuff ends up back at social engineering because it's all of those traits.
I had a student make a very interesting observation that this industry, one of the cool things about this industry and how we work and how we communicate is that it's a very accepting of different points of view, different odd people, different odd habits. Because the student came from a classical music background, right?
Wow.
And in classical music,
me too.
Nice. You must perform in a very respectable manner, and things have to be. It has an attitude.
Yes, absolutely. My background's probably not as concrete as theirs because I stopped it earlier on, but I was in various orchestras, and it's very. I got in trouble a lot for playing jazz on the standing bass.
But this is the cool thing about this internet hackerspace, wild IT world, is that it's very accepting of all sorts of different flavors.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we need them all. Cool. We need everybody.
Yeah.
The
more perspective we got, the better off we're going to be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's definitely, the community overall is extremely, extremely supportive. Anybody coming from, transitioning out of the military or something like that, there's so many organizations and so much support for, a wide variety of people. What happened?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Ben.
Ben Stitt.
I feel called out.
Oh, okay. Being a classical musician was my backup to astrophysics.
I feel bad. I feel called out, Ben.
I gotta pay more attention to what's going on the side.
No, that's what we're here for.
Oh, okay.
If I'm laughing, it's probably at them, not you.
Rude, Levy. Rude.
Probably at
laughing. Whoops.
And to Bert's point, there's a lot of neurodiversity in tech in general, which is awesome. At the same time, Chill, Rachel. At the same time, there's a lot of people who don't know how to interact with people who are neurodivergent, and it causes a lot of clashes, which is unfortunate. And something we, in general, across the board, need to talk about more, and talk about how to get people more on the same page with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Educate, learn stuff. If you come across somebody that's like, I suffer from this form of autism, or I struggle with ADHD or anything. One, there's no negative connotation. Okay. We're just wired different.
You don't need,
right?
it's not,
Exactly.
You don't necessarily need to call it suffering. It's just how you think.
Exactly. And sometimes it's actually a superpower. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I got superpowers. I didn't understand my own superpower and how to wield it. That was all. And then I figured it out. And that's, because of some of the symptoms of it, especially on a non-medicated day. And I didn't even realize what it was when I was a kid. I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety my whole life. And they were trying to treat that. And it was not helping. It was bad. It was not fun. And I struggle with all kinds of things, especially around self-confidence in group settings, because one of the symptoms that I suffer from, and this is the suffering. Okay, this is not a superpower highlight. Okay, this is a detriment, is that people would be speaking to me one-on-one. There's nothing else going on. There could be some water dripping off in another room somewhere that I just happen to hyper focus on. And suddenly the noise that people are making when they're speaking my language enters my ear hole. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't turn into anything I understand in my brain. And it just I have to ask them to repeat themselves 3 or 4 times. And by that point, they're frustrated. I'm frustrated. So I just mask it and never heard what they said. That was a problem all the time. And it made it really difficult to ingest different styles of instruction, right? Or you would read a passage in a book, and no matter if it was completely silent because the light bulb made a noise that I could hear and nobody else could. I had to read the same passage 7 or 8 times before, and then I'd even have to go and write it down, because the act of me actually rewriting and copying it helped me understand it better. I love YouTube. Thank you very much. Because it's difficult for me to function. And that could be true for a lot of people on your teams. And just being cognizant of that is super helpful. It's why we need more empaths in leadership roles.
Well, I mean, the expression is nice to be nice.
It is.
That's, treat people right. And it's always a win-win.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
you have to be kind to those that are like Rachel, connected in so many ways, and then those like me that many times are just not connected at all.
You're such a goofball. Speaking of Shane, I'm so glad, Shane, you stopped by. If you guys do not know much about the foundation that Levy and I support and volunteer with wholeheartedly, 100%. You want to talk about passion projects? Okay, this is it. This is the one.
Right.
Go check out the Innocent Lives Foundation. I'm not saying that my donation link is better.
No, mine is.
But it might be. Mine is better. I think mine is better.
I'm the one who's beating Chris, so that's all that I care about.
Are you really?
Yes, I am. I'm beating Chris, Hagnaggy, Professor Nagy, Elise. I'm going to win.
Oh my goodness. That is impressive. That is impressive. I have to say something very cool, like a side project that's kind of forming up anyway. Joshua and I are, for those who don't know my husband, he's also in cybersecurity. Very cool. He's not very social. We're polar opposites of one another. So I don't know. I think he's pretty cool, but I might be biased. We're married.
He is pretty cool. He's cool.
So we're helping Chris, our good pal Chris Roberts, with these segments of a podcast that's in the works.
Nice.
I don't know how much I can share, but it's going to be like a D&D style tabletop exercise with our goofy, stupid selves. Super fun.
Nice.
If you need another goof, let me know. I want to help.
We will. We will. We may need more goofs. So, and it's going to be super fun. I'm so excited. I'm playing, the character I've chosen is like a bard. And Chris, of course, is like a cybersecurity warlock.
Of course.
Joshua is our dungeon master. He's so, he's going to be so Game of Thrones about it. Like you're going to fall in love with one of us and he's going to kill us.
Hey,
like,
if you want, listen, when we get to spooky season, if you guys want a horror version, hit me up because I'm always ready.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. That'll be
one campaign that has nothing but bards and then my warlock character.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh god.
Oh, I love the bard part.
Done.
There were 3 gypsies in a row, and oh, that that'll be great.
I love it. I keep trying to get them to have to sing everything, and they say no every time.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun! I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
cool.
It's gonna be a thrill. I think we're gonna kill Ryan Cloutier first. I think that's who we're killing first.
Come on, he's a good guy.
Meta.
Yeah,
but in cyberspace.
Has anybody played D&D? Like, I know. I think it's a thing, but that people just do.
A little bit. I've played.
Okay, so whenever your character dies at the table, that's it. You're dead. Like you're dead. Yeah. You're gone. Yeah.
Usually you have to spin up a new character, unless you can revive them, which depends on the rules of the DM.
Right. Which depends on the rules of the DM. So can for anybody that knows Ryan's personality and his outspoken nature, can you imagine us just killing Ryan in the first?
I would like. So when you kill him, I would like is an epic death monologue as he's slowly dying, fully acted out, please.
I'm sure we can convince Ryan to do it. He's very animated.
That's what I need.
Fun. I love
like
Ryan.
With the raspy voice and the slowly like croaking to death, please. Yeah, that's what I need.
Yes, I love it so much. All right, so I want to take a few minutes and kind of wrap up here with some final thoughts, and then thank you, Felim, for coming and stopping by and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
I mean, awesome. I run into all of these fabulously wonderful, good-hearted, natured, amazing. How many more compliments can I throw in here, people? Felim's one of them. And
thank you. You're too kind.
That's part of how I end up begging you to come hang out.
Well, no, but it was absolutely a pleasure. I have to say, it was wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You're going to have to send me your address because I'm going to send you something that so Levy does some very exclusive coffee table talks art.
Yeah.
And
wow. Okay. Cool.
And you get some swaggies sent to you.
Swag is always good.
As a thank you. Yes, I'm excited. So just to recap, we went everywhere today. Did we even talk about application security? We did not.
There was a mention that it's going to go beyond application security, and you know what? We did, so that's fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I had 20 slides and everything prepared. I mean,
yeah, I'm savvy.
I'm kidding.
I mean, you know what that means, Rachel? He just has to come back next week for his slides.
I don't know. You know how I feel. I feel very passionate about
me and my big mouth, huh? Jeez.
Presentation. Yeah, I'm feeling like it's not gonna happen. It's not.
Sorry, we can't pencil you into the schedule right now.
So we did.
What did I get myself into?
I know exactly, right?
We did cover where you've been, where you are, right?
Yeah.
And so what are some things after being in the industry for a very long time? Not that long, but a very long time. I'm sorry, I don't mean to date you. But like what are some things that you hope to see, even if it moves the needle just a little bit? What are some changes that you're looking forward to, or some things that you've seen out there that you're just so thrilled to see?
I'll be really happy when AI really is AI, and it's, when some of these vendors bring it up, it's like, okay, it's a red flag right away.
Would you like me to send you my bingo card that I've made? I bring this up on occasion. My current background is making machine learning and AI programs.
Right.
And I have a bingo sheet for vendors, and I'll just leave the calls if I get bingo, which usually doesn't take long. And a lot of them have to do with the next generation antivirus.
Yeah.
We use
absolutely.
machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. And then I'll ask them questions, and they're like, it's shiny.
In the center spot is Gartner Quadrant, right?
Oh yeah, the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting close to just
Wave.
Printing off these bingo sheets and like laminating them.
Oh no, you should. I have a really interesting story on that. There was a senior guy in the former organization, and I won't use the full word, but it was he called it BS bingo. So there were certain words in these meetings, and as soon as all of them were called out, and inevitably do where, he would just nudge the person next to them and go, bingo.
Yep, that's exactly what I used to do.
And if you've seen this guy, you crack up. You'd say, no way, this is not this guy at all. But yeah.
In my last job, when we were like face to face and there was humans and all that weird stuff, that's exactly what I would do. Like I would say just bingo, and I'd leave calls or meetings.
And for Shane McCombs, we didn't yell bingo, we'd just whisper bingo.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, I'm done buying things.
So Levy, you do the art. You already have the bingo cards. That can be, if you put that up like that, that could be an income element for Innocent Lives.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do the bingo
card. You can sell it like hotcakes in the IT industry. IT bingo.
Yeah. I call it. I put it in the chat. I used to call it buzzword bingo. Then I realized it applied to regular meetings internally, and I wanted to update a new one. So now I call it.
You could have a whole deck of those things.
I do. I've started making them, and I just make them for myself because I think they're funny.
Yeah.
But if people are into them, I'll make them into stickers and stuff.
One of the ones that was on this card was, "Are you fully engaged? Are you fully engaged in this process?"
That one is the internal one. That's on the internal one. I have that.
Okay. So some key takeaways from this section of this very squirrely conversation.
It's not squirrely. This is focused on bingo right now.
You guys are gonna have to bite the bullet and share your bingo cards, because that's a thing. We need a whole thread for this, because I'm sure everybody's got them.
Just make sure you put it behind a single pane of glass, okay?
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Right there.
We're not.
You guys are just literally reading the squares on my bingo card. I don't even have it up right now.
I'm almost terrified now to announce who's coming to hang out next week. Because
can I bring a bingo card?
No, but you're gonna love her. You're gonna love her though, because you want to know what she focuses on: counterterrorism and cybersecurity.
Wow. Oh God, that's insane. That's intense.
That was what we like to call. That's a bad. You know what I mean?
I wonder if I've run into her. That'd be fun.
Megan, do you know Megan? Megan Burke. She works with Flashpoint currently.
Oh,
yeah. And it's
Flashpoint. Yeah.
Yep. She's got a whole thing.
I think I've run into Megan.
She worked with the Department of Defense.
Still don't have all their darknet stuff set up right.
Yeah. Oh. She worked with the Department of Defense for like 10 years. And she's just cool. She's just cool as hell.
Yeah, no, she's really cool. If I'm thinking of the right person. I wanted to throw out there that the best kind of meetings are the ones that don't get bingo, and these calls never end up with a bingo.
They don't.
It doesn't. Never have a bingo.
You can try. But I try to avoid it. Either that or just accidentally mute people if they start using too many. That's why, you know what? That's what I love about being a non-sponsored podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to support this podcast, my link for the Innocent Lives Foundation is better than Levy's. I'm just
not. Mine comes with Occasional fundraisers for your own personalized profile picture. So,
Oh.
which, by the way, Rachel did also get one. So clearly mine's better.
Why you hurt me like this? I don't know. That's it. We're gonna have to form like a victims of levy support club.
You know, that's been a hot topic this week. I've been getting that comment a bit.
It's gonna be amazing. So we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome.
Love you all so much. Thank you all for coming and hanging out.
Thank you so much.
You're awesome, Felim. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Levy.
Go follow all the things, and thank you always to everybody in the scrolling side chat of crazy fun.
Thank you for heckling me this entire time, everybody. Especially Ben. Shout outs to Ben. Come back
next week. We're doing it again. Same bat time, same bat channel, wherever you're enjoying this stream from. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be really cold in some parts of the country, so bundle up.
Really?
I love it. That's a great place to end right there. That's beautiful.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh. We love you guys so much. Thanks for grabbing a cup and circling up.
Say cheerio, bye.